The city of Mari lay on the banks of the Middle Euphrates in what is today Syria. It was accidentally discovered in 1933 and then excavated by French archaeologists. Mari turned out to include a large and impressive royal palace of over 300 rooms and vast archives of clay tablets. Since the initial excavations, more than 25,000 tablets have been unearthed. The tablets teach us that Mari ruled over an important kingdom of the same name during the Old Babylonian period, and that finally it was destroyed by the Babylonian king Hammurabi in 1760 BCE. The majority of these tablets are written in Akkadian, and they shed light on various aspects of the kingdom and its rulers. Political and military events, the royal court and its officials, the religious and daily life. Once the tablets had been deciphered, scholars discovered that the ruling dynasty and many inhabitants of Mari were Amorites rather than Akkadian. The Amorites were sheep-herding nomads belonging to the West Semitic genealogical branch. They lived a typically nomadic tribal lifestyle in regions bordering Mesopotamian urban centers. However, from the end of the 3rd millennium BCE, they began to penetrate urban space itself. Gradually, they became city dwellers and the dominant ethnic component of Mari during this period. This is how Amorite elements came to govern many cities and kingdoms across Mesopotamia. As nomads, the Amorites wrote nothing in their own language. As far as we know, no written texts in the Amorite language exist. However, elements of Amorite language and society found their way into the existing Akkadian culture and gave it a distinctively Amorite color. The identification of Amorite elements in the culture of the Kingdom of Mari is of particular significance for biblical studies. As West Semites, the Amorites exhibit striking affinities with Israel. Because the Amorites and the Israelites come from a common branch of the Semitic genealogical lineage, they are more closely linked together than the Eastern Semitic cultures of Mesopotamia and Israel. Despite the lack of any original Amorite documents, the Akkadian Mari texts reveal many of the hallmarks of Amorite culture, thus shedding light on biblical institutions and customs. One of the most interesting affinities between Mari and the Bible relates to prophecy. Several letters from Mari and its environs deal with prophecy. Most of these letters were written during the days of the last 3 kings of Mari. The letters were addressed to the king, reporting to him the words of the prophets who worked either in Mari itself or throughout the kingdom. The letters were sent to the king by his officials, his royal representatives, and even by the ladies of the court. We know today of only one letter whose sender was the prophet himself. This fact is important because it may imply that the prophecies were not cited verbatim. The authors of the letters probably paraphrased the prophecies and perhaps even shortened them by selecting those parts that they considered important. Mari prophets were known by several epithets. The most widespread is Muhum for prophets or Muhutum for prophetesses. This term means ecstatic, and it refers to their state while prophesying. This epithet recalls the biblical association between prophecy and madness. A famous example is King Saul's behavior when the Spirit of God came upon him.
And he walked on and prophesied, and he stripped off his clothes also, and prophesied before Samuel in like manner, and lay naked all that day and all that night. Wherefore they say, Is Saul also among the prophets?
Other Mari prophets were known as Apilum in the masculine or Apiltum in the feminine, the answerer. Some scholars believe that this epithet points to the practice of answering human questions, perhaps like the biblical Urim and Tumim. There are also other, less frequent epithets for prophets in Mari. An interesting one is Nabu, which is known today from one text only. Many scholars think that this is an etymological parallel to the biblical title Navi, prophet. In the next lecture, we shall read some Mari prophecies.